When did your parents learn exactly how much you were worth to them? My mother stood up at Thanksgiving dinner and told 30 relatives that I was a parasite, destroying her reputation. 25 years old, still living in my basement, working part-time at a bookstore while his cousin just made partner at her law firm, she announced while the entire family stared at me. You have 30 days to get a real job and get out, or I'm putting your stuff on the curb. I'm done telling people my son is between opportunities when you're just a failure who refuses to grow up. My father added that they'd be charging me $800 rent for December to teach me about the real world, even though he knew my bookstore job barely covered my car payment. I packed my things that night and left because if they wanted to humiliate me and shake me down for money I didn't have, then they could learn the hard way exactly how much I was worth. The panicked calls from my siblings started at 5:30 Monday morning when my 16-year-old brother missed his alarm for swim practice because I wasn't there to bang on his door until he got up. My mother had to leave her morning workout to drive him, making her late for her 8 o'clock meeting, but she got halfway there before realizing she'd forgotten him at home when she stopped for coffee. By the time she went back, practice was over and coach benched him for the next meet, which meant his scholarship chances were shot. My 14-year-old sister called crying because nobody made her lunch, and she had no money in her account because I always handled the weekly transfers, so she spent the day hungry while my mother was in back-to-back meetings. That afternoon, my brother missed his SAT tutoring that cost $200 per session because my father thought it was Tuesday, and my sister sobbed through dinner because her history project was due the next morning, and she'd assumed I'd help her like always. My mother tried to help, but she didn't understand the rubric, and my sister turned in 3 paragraphs for a 10-page paper, getting her first F. Then the house started falling apart because I wasn't there to notice things before they became disasters. The washing machine I'd been carefully balancing and resetting finally died completely when my father overloaded it, flooding the laundry room and seeping through to the kitchen ceiling, which now had an enormous brown water stain. The garbage disposal I'd been nursing with careful maintenance backed up because my mother put potato peels down it, and the plumber charged them $900 for an emergency Sunday call. My brother drove himself to practice illegally and got pulled over, resulting in a $1,000 fine and a court date, while my sister missed her orthodontist appointment that had been booked 6 months in advance and now couldn't get another until spring, meaning her treatment would take an extra year at an additional $4,000. The internet got shut off during my mother's important video presentation because nobody knew the bill was on my credit card, making her look completely unprepared in front of her biggest client, who immediately questioned whether they should renew her contract. By week 3, they were hemorrhaging money trying to replace everything I used to do, spending over $5,000 on tutors, cleaning services, lawn care, and takeout for every meal. How hard can it be to run a house? My mother had said. But now she was leaving work early every day to drive my brother everywhere since he'd failed his driving test because nobody had practiced with him, and she got written up for excessive absences. The electricity got shut off because the autopay I'd set up years ago got canceled when they removed me from the account, and they spent 2 days without power before paying a $300 emergency reconnection fee. My sister's grades went from A's to C's without daily homework help, threatening her acceptance to the honors program, while my brother started failing math because I wasn't there to explain concepts the way he understood them. Then when they tried to host their annual holiday party that I'd always organized behind the scenes, everything came crashing down. They forgot to order catering until the day before, paying triple for rush delivery, but nobody remembered to get drinks, plates, or decorations. The house was a disaster because the cleaning service had quit after not being paid on time, and my mother was sobbing in the kitchen surrounded by 60 pounds of cold catering that arrived 3 hours late, while guests stood around drinking water from coffee mugs. My father's boss pulled him aside to ask if everything was all right at home because his work quality had plummeted, and my mother's biggest client dropped her after too many missed deadlines. My brother got rejected from his top college choice because nobody reminded him about the early application deadline, and my sister had a breakdown when she realized her GPA would keep her out of advanced classes next year. That night, my mother called me crying, begging me to come back. "We'll pay you $40,000 a year to just live here and keep doing what you were doing," she sobbed. My father grabbed the phone to add that they'd buy me a new car and convert the basement into a real apartment if I just came home. I hung up and blocked their numbers.